Hey guys, it's Bryce from the Fourth Liners podcast. Before we get into our tier list here, Jacob and I just wanted to state that we had recorded this video before Game 1 of the Leafs and Canadiens series, so that's why we make no mention in this video of the John Tavares incident, and we just wanted to say that we wish nothing but a fast and healthy recovery for John Tavares. It was really scary to watch happen on the ice, and we hope we see him back soon. If not this season, then the beginning of next. Thank you again so much for watching, guys, and I really hope you enjoy this video. Welcome back to the Fourth Liners podcast, but this video isn't actually a podcast. Jacob and I have decided to do a tier list for all of the NHL captains that are currently in the playoffs. Luckily, every team in the playoffs this season has a captain, so that makes it a lot easier. And I feel like we might have some disagreements on this one, Jake. I don't know if you're ready.
I don't know. This is a special episode, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we never done any one of this before. A tier list. This is my first tier list that I've ever done in my life.
Yeah,
so,
let me say right now how unbelievably difficult, like overly difficult it is to make a tier list on this stupid website.
Tier maker. I don't know if I'd recommend it. I'm not talking shit about any tier making websites because it's not too serious, but the process to make this tier list was harder than you thought, and you have to make a Twitter account for some reason and log it through there. Me and Bryce had to make a fake one. That was the only way we can get into it.
It's my new burner account.
Exactly. Hey man, maybe you'll get a lot of followers on that account too.
A burner account where I just talk mad crap to everybody?
You shouldn't have put your name on it.
No. So the way we're going to be judging this list with the players is, obviously we could both agree that every single captain on all these teams is a fantastic player in their own way, right? They're all good players,
yeah,
right? But because they're being compared with each other, there are going to have to be some people put in the D column, even though they're still great players. It's just when you compare them to the top players, I mean, the top players are just that much better.
I have some D-list players.
3 categories. Yeah, there's some D-list players there. So, three bits of criteria here for how we're rating these guys, okay? We're rating their past playoff performances. We're rating their leadership ability. And we're rating their clutch factor. How much can their team rely on them to score a big goal when they need it? That sound good to you?
All right. Yeah, sounds great. Let's get into it.
Okay, first guy right here, it's Blake Wheeler, captain of the Winnipeg Jets. What's your take?
Mr. Blake Wheeler. I mean, this guy came into Winnipeg. I didn't think they thought anything of him, but now he's their leader, and he has been for a while. Winnipeg hasn't really made it that far in a long time, but he just, there's something about him where it feels right having that C on his jersey. I mean, he's not bad. Winnipeg's doing decent, but they have had some struggles. I would put him, just considering all the criteria, I put him in the B. I put him in the B category.
I agree that Blake Wheeler is probably a B. He plays on the top line. He's physical. He plays a playoff style of hockey. But you're right, Winnipeg for the last few years has been a team that people maybe thought should have been challenging further for a Stanley Cup. Now, they made it to the conference finals against Vegas, did they not?
They did, but that's the farthest they made it in a long time.
Right, and now you look at Winnipeg, and they're falling apart just before the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think a B is good for Blake Wheeler.
I think a B is right for him as well.
Boom, B. Okay, moving on to Sasha Barkhoff, Alexander Barkov, one of my favorite players in the league. Not so underrated anymore because everybody knows how good he is. Definitely an amazing captain for an amazing team. But my problem is Florida doesn't have a ton of playoff experience. What's Barkov's stat line looking like?
He's pretty steady, and he has been for years. He has one 96-point season. He's finishing with more than a point per game this season with 58 points in 50 games. He kind of carries that Florida Panther team, but along with Huberdeau as well. Like, you got to consider all their other factors, but Barkov has been one of the best players in the league, maybe very unnoticed, but I think Barkov, he goes in the A category for me.
Now, the first time you made the playoffs, he was probably a rookie, right? Or like a sophomore?
It was
Like,
it was a 2015-2016 season.
He had to be a rookie there, right?
That was his third year in the league, and he came off a 59-point season.
Barkov has been in the league to Jesus.
I know. That's how much he's unnoticed in the league.
But like, what are his stats for the playoffs? Like, is he?
He's brutal in the playoffs. Really hasn't performed. His total career stats out of 3 times in the playoffs is 9 points, 4 goals in 5 games, and 5 assists in 11 games played. Which, for Barkov, what you seen him in the season, it doesn't carry on to the playoffs. So,
I think, like, despite the fact that he's one of the best players in the league, I don't think he's proven himself in the playoffs yet. And I think these playoffs are going to be a real indicator on whether or not he's clutch. You know, like, can he step up? Like, I feel like this season Barkov and Huberdeau, are the 2 most important factors for the Florida Panthers. And if they don't perform, the team's going to fail. So if the team succeeds, we can say that's because of Barkov. But if the team fails, we can also look at Barkov and say he didn't come through. I'm willing to put him into C.
I'll put him into C2 with you because I was thinking A because of how good of a player Barkov is, but considering his playoff stats and his ability to carry the team, it just hasn't showed in the playoffs for him. And maybe if he proves it against Tampa Bay this year, the defending Stanley Cup champs, he can go in that A category. But for now, he's put in the C. He has to prove himself. So now we move on to Patrice Bergeron, the newest captain of the Boston Bruins. I mean, this is his first year as a captain, so I don't know where you kind of rate him. He's been in the playoffs since 2003 and has carried his way to 2021. So you can kind of say he's been a good player in the playoffs. He's been in it many times. He's won cups with Boston, but he's always had the A on his jersey. He hasn't had that C. But I believe he can really test against the Washington Capitals. I might put him. I'm in between the C and the B category, but I'm gonna put him in B, just knowing he had that A on his jersey too, and I know he was a leader alongside Chara. So I think he's a great leader. I put him in B. How about you, Bryce?
For me, it's probably B or A. Like, he's been in the playoffs like the vast majority of his career, and when Boston won the Stanley Cup, he had 20 points in 23 games. Like,
yeah, he's been outstanding.
Like, if Bergeron steps up, but it's also kind of inconsistent because, like, 2012, 2013, he had 15 points in 22 games. That's pretty good. But then the next season, he only had 9 points in 12 games. I mean, it just kind of depends on the team around him. I don't think he's that. I don't look at Patrice Bergeron as clutch. I look at Patrice Bergeron as steady.
He's the face-off guy for the Boston Bruins. That's what he's known for.
Yeah, like a team like he does. I don't think Bergeron carries the team. I think Bergeron is kind of the guy that the team gravitates around, but like he's not capable of putting up massive numbers. I don't think. At least not at this point in his career.
No, he's getting up there in age, right? So, I mean, for how old he is in the league, he does pretty well, and he does compete.
Yeah,
like he was when he was younger.
I think he's equivalent. I think he's equivalent to Blake Wheeler.
Yeah, for sure. I put him in the B category.
B category for Patrice Bergeron. Okay. All right. Sidney Crosby. That's the kid. Not so much kid anymore. 33 years old. 34 years old, I think, actually. No. Yeah, he's 33.
33. 1987. Number 87.
Crosby. I think this is pretty easy. Like, 3 Stanley Cups. Every single year his team wins the Stanley Cup. He's pivotal. He is the type of guy to make the big play. He might not be the one to score, but he creates the opportunities. He's one of the smartest players to ever play the game. He's a fantastic captain. No drama. Clutch. I mean, it wasn't in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but I mean, the guy scored the golden goal. I mean, that's as clutch as it gets.
So what you're saying, he's definitely in the D category.
Hard D for Sid.
Hard D for Sid. No,
it's an S.
He's the best. He's the best captain that there has been in the league for years. He dominates either regular season or the playoffs. It's Sid the kid. I mean, Sid the old kid now. Like, I don't even know what you call him. Sid the adult.
Dude, 190 points in 169 playoff games.
He's insane. He's a monster.
Insane. S.
Legend.
Like, without question.
The GOAT.
All right, McDavid. This is kind of a hard one for us because obviously McDavid's the best player in the world. He's a good captain, obviously clutch. I mean, he carries that Oilers offense, right? He has for so many years. But the Oilers have just never been able to really get into the playoffs except for a couple seasons, and then this year is his third appearance. But also, like, the team doesn't perform around him. Like, his first time making the playoffs, he played 13 games and had 9 points. That's good, right? And then 2019, 2020, I think the Oilers got swept. 4 games played, but McDavid had 9 points and they still lost.
I know. His ability to carry a team is definitely there, but it depends the team that he is carrying. And in all the years he's been in Edmonton, it hasn't really been there for him to carry. He has performed in the playoffs, 9 points in 13 games, and then 9 points in 4 games. Like, obviously, he's the best player of the league. He's better than Crosby. I mean, that's crazy to say now. But he hasn't proved himself in the playoffs, like you said. I don't know.
I think, honestly, though, I think he's still an S, man. Like,
I think so too, but he's on the borderline of the S to the A. Just if he proves himself in the playoffs, maybe this year, could change people's minds.
It's easy S. I think he's like a borderline S here. Like, we're putting him in an S because it's frickin' Connor McDavid, and the points are always going to be there. He's always going to be scoring. He's always going to be scoring clutch goals. But he needs more. He needs more playoff, experience really for us to kind of gauge how good of a player performer he is. The first 2 years he's been in the playoffs were great, but it needs to be more consistent with that team making it to the playoffs. But I mean, leadership. He's obviously their leader. Clutch, he is by far the most clutch player in the league. Okay, and his numbers aren't there, but that's just because the Oilers have been so bad. He's an S.
He is an S. Just trade him to a team where he can be a captain and win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, there's no way we can put him. If we put Barkov in C, like, there's no way we can put Jordan Staal in D.
Jordan Staal, I don't know.
Or Jordan Staal in C. That's what I meant to say.
Jordan Staal, I heard he's a good guy. I mean, I'd feel bad if I just keep ripping on him, but he's honestly just the old guy on his team. And who else are they going to give the C to? I don't really know. But he has... Aho. But that's a young guy, right? Like, maybe they just wanted to give it to a veteran on the team. But he has been in the playoffs for years, but for 2 different teams, for Pittsburgh and Carolina.
He's never been the guy.
He's never been the guy.
He's been on 2 really good teams in his career. Like, I don't see.
I think he was meant to be the guy.
Yeah, like, he's defensively responsible. Like, he's a good player, obviously a really good player, but like, he's not anywhere near a primary scoring option.
No.
And I think he's probably a great leader for the young guys, right? Which is why I kind of want to put him into C, but like, how can we put him into C if we have Barkov in C?
Yeah, he's not the same level as Barkov. I think we can't really favor any guys. I think we have to put him in D. As much as I don't want to, I wish there was something between C and D, but if he's on the cusp of going to C, but I think we should put him in the D category. Our first D player.
The leadership is there. But that's it for Jordan Staal.
Yeah, no hate on Jordan Staal.
Said, no, defensively responsible player, but he's nowhere near the primary threat for Carolina.
No.
So D for Jordan Staal.
All right, we're going to Roman Yossi, the man rocket in the NHL. Guy has unbelievable hair.
Yo, pause.
Should we cut that out?
You can't, I'm not cutting that out. It's staying in there.
Man, we gotta cut that.
I'm not cutting it.
He is though, man. Like, his hair, I wish I looked like him.
You're so adamant. Before we started this, he's like pretty boy, and I'm like, yeah, he's a pretty good looking guy. And then Jake comes flying out of the gates here, the man rocket. It's like, whoa.
Well, you think about it, who in the league? You gotta compliment the guy for his looks. I think he's modeled for some magazines as well. So that's why I called him the man rocket.
Do you own those magazines? Are they? Do you have them hidden somewhere?
They're pre-ordered,
Oh, dude.
But yeah, okay, Roman Yossi. he's been good stepping up to the plate ever since Shea Weber was the guy there. He was the captain. Was Mike Fisher right after Shea Weber, and then it was Roman Yossi? I think that's how it went down. I think so. But yeah, he's really stepped up to the plate as captain and as the Nashville Predators. Their team.
Roman Yossi is one of the best defensemen in the league.
Yeah, hands down. Norris Trophy winner.
Top 3, man.
Top 3. It's insane. He proves it every night. But the Nashville Predators, like, they kind of slipped their way into the playoffs. They weren't for sure, and I don't know if like he has a lot of playoff experience with the Nashville Predators, but he does at the same time. It's just I don't know. I'm kind of confused. I'm confused on Roman Yossi. What about you, Bryce?
The thing about Roman Yossi is he's the first defenseman we've seen on this list, right? So like we kind of have to look at it a little bit differently.
Okay.
He's one of the top point producing guys for Nashville, which really says something as a defenseman. So when it comes to something like clutch factor, like maybe he's not like the guy scoring or even getting the primary assist, but like he's going to be on the ice and he's going to be quarterbacking that team on the ice when it matters. He'll always be there, which is why I'm leaning towards putting Yossi in the A.
I mean, I agree with you there where he's basically the best player of the Nashville Predators beside Philip Forsberg. I'd say he's their best player is Roman Yossi. And he has carried that team through everything, and he's done a very good job with it the last few years. And I would put him in A as well. Being a defenseman, it's just proving that you're the best player of the team and having that C is pretty impressive. And he does carry that team, and he carried that team into the playoffs this year.
All right, I'm down to put Yossi in an A. That could be a hot take, putting him above like somebody like Bergeron, but I think Yossi deserves it. I
think we'll get a second looks of that one, but I like that. I like that decision. Gabriel Landeskog, I mean, youngest captain ever before McDavid came into the league, but captain at 18 years old of the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, he has carried the team pretty well. He had a great game last night. It was a goal and 2 assists, you said, Bryce. So I like Gabriel Landeskog as captain. I mean, I personally feel like McKinnon should have been captain. I mean, I think Landeskog came before McKinnon, so maybe that's how it happened. But he has carried the team. He had one good season in the playoffs in the 2019-2020 season where he got 13 points in 14 games. He's a leader on the team, and he has led them to success for the past few years, and they keep making the playoffs, but they just can't get to that finals. But I think this is their year. I think he can lead them to the Stanley Cup finals and maybe the Stanley Cup.
I'm going to come out with a hot take here. So Landeskog's been the captain for so obviously like leadership, it's all there, right? He's been captain for forever. Like that's solid.
Yep.
But Landeskog, I feel like his numbers are very inflated from playing with McKinnon and Rantanen. And like, if you look at his playoff performances, I mean, it's nothing special, especially for playing on that top line. He had one good year where they had 14 games played and he had 13 points. Another one where he had 12 games played and 8 points. His point totals are always kind of, like, hovering, like, just below point per game. But, like, he's playing with McKinnon on arguably the greatest line in the NHL. And, like, what has Colorado been able to do? Like, they've never made it past that point. And those three guys have been together for, like, 3-4 years now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Maybe McKinnon takes the spotlight more. Playing with McKinnon and Rantanen, he gets points stolen from him as they score instead, right? Like I don't know. I personally feel like maybe he's not as high on this list, but he's not.
I think he's the lowest. Like, Landeskog's a great player. Like he's a major component for that line, but I think he's a C. I don't think he's really proven himself in the playoffs yet.
A C feels right to me, honestly. I mean, you don't think of a great
next
captain.
To Barkov. I mean, there's no shame in that. Like,
no, man, that's a good player to go beside. Honestly, Sasha. I mean, there's nothing to complain about Landeskog. He's a good captain, just not the best in the league, especially for the playoffs. So, I think C is a good spot for him. So we have Anders Lee. I mean, this guy's interesting. He's not playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. Unfortunately, he's out. Poor guy. I feel bad for him, but
Me too.
I don't like Lee as captain. I just don't. I'm not in the New York Islanders dressing room. I just didn't see him as captain when they gave him the C. I was shocked to see that he got the C after Tavares left. I mean, he has proven to be a good captain, but definitely not he has not performed in the playoffs like a leader should be, and someone who can carry the team. I would put Lee in the D category. I think we need more players in the D category, and Jordan Staal compared to Anders Lee, I'd rather take Jordan Staal on my team than Anders Lee. I mean, hey, Anders Lee had a 40-goal season.
No, what's Jordan Staal over Anders Lee?
I that's my opinion. That's my opinion, Bryce.
You can have it. You can. Okay. What I like about kind of unknown players getting named captain is to me it shows that they're a huge presence in the locker room, right? Because it's very easy to make your best player captain, but when it's more of an unknown guy like Anders Lee or even like a Jared Spurgeon, it shows that like in the locker room they're a big deal and they're important, right? So like I don't think we can fault Lee on his leadership. We can definitely fault him on his point totals within the playoffs, where his first playoffs 2014-15 1 point, his second playoffs 18-19 8 games played 4 points, not terrible, and then 2019-2020 he had 11 points in 22 games. Like I think all of the clutch for the New York Islanders is coming from Barzal and Eberle. I don't think Anders Lee is clutch. I think he's a steady performer, and I think he's built for the playoffs, right? Because he's a big guy, right? Like he throws the body around. Like he's.
Oh yeah, that's one of the main purposes they have him. I mean, I don't hate Anders Lee. I mean, the Islanders is a team full of the player types like Anders Lee, where they're not superstar players, but they all work well together and they all get wins, right? That's just the New York Islanders and how they are. And like I said, I'm not in the New York Islanders dressing room, so I don't know what type of leader he is, but in the playoffs, he hasn't carried as much for me to rate him higher than what I rated him in the D category.
Ultimately, I agree with D, because if you put him up to C, then he's standing next to guys like Barkov and Landeskog, and like I don't think Lee's the same caliber of player. I think he works great on the Islanders. He's great for them, but like when you put him in comparison to all of these other guys, like I think he's a D.
I totally agree with D. Next player, Johnny Tavares, Johnny T. I can already hear Bryce laughing, his little evil laugh, but I don't know. I kind of agree with Bryce on, like we were talking before. I don't think John Tavares has really proved himself to carry a team. I mean, yes, he's a good player, but he's not worth $11 million. I mean, in the playoffs, he's had one good season, and it was with the New York Islanders.
What did he ever do for the Islanders? Like he's no Crosby,
nothing.
he's no Ovechkin, he's no McDavid. He doesn't carry a team. He's not that type of player. You could argue that the Islanders were bad, but I mean, I don't know. Like in hockey, it takes more than one guy. But
it does.
What's interesting with Tavares is every single year he's been in the playoffs, except for 14-15, negative player. Negative player.
That's not supposed to be your top player. Your top player is not supposed to be negative.
Here's the thing: he's not Toronto's top player. I don't think he's close to being Toronto's top player.
No,
it's Marner, well, not in order, but Matthews, Marner, and Nylander.
I say Hyman's ahead of him. I would say it. I think Hyman's more important to the Leafs than Tavares is.
I agree. I think Tavares, when they signed him, it was redundant.
It was out of impulse. He wanted to come home. I mean, I like Tavares. I like him. I think he's a good person, a good leader, probably in the locker room. I mean, he's not a kid. He's 30 years old. He knows how to lead. He did it in the Islanders organization, which nothing came from it.
Until he snaked them.
Till the biggest snake.
Until he snaked them.
He wanted to come home.
He should have told them, and then they could have traded him.
Was this a breakup?
Yes.
He should have told them. Oh, the Islanders fans can keep crying. They can keep crying.
Tavares snaked the Islanders. I mean, I don't fault him, but he did. He snaked them. Dude, Tavares for me, C.
I would put Tavares in C. I mean, close to D though.
People are gonna we put Tavares below Blake Wheeler.
Okay, no.
We're gonna flip out.
No, I think maybe he has to go down to D. I like Tavares.
Not going down to D.
I like Tavares, but I don't think he's done anything.
No. D is reserved for guys who we kind of look at it and question why they're cat. Like, we all know Tavares is an elite player, but when it comes to the playoffs, he's a C.
Too bad Derek McKenzie wasn't in this, you know?
Derek McKenzie.
Florida Panthers
Leaf
captain.
fans are going to explode, man. We put Tavares below Blake Wheeler.
Oh, man. I mean, we have a lot of Leaf fans that listen to us, I'm pretty sure. So.
Oh, man.
Have some disagreements on that one.
Out. Yeah. Why didn't you put Bull Horvat in here? I'd S category. That's a captain.
Ovi. All right. Well, I mean, Ovi's maybe in the same category as McDavid and Crosby. Am I crazy to say that? Or am I not?
No, you're not. I think Ovi's an S. He's as clutch as it gets. He's been captain for how long? He plays a physical game. His playoff numbers are great.
He finally got that Stanley Cup.
He got the Stanley Cup, and he won the Conn Smythe, didn't he?
He did. And man, if you look at his playoff stats, he does put up points every time.
That's an S. That's it.
He's a legend in the league. I mean, as much as I'd rather Crosby than Ovi, Ovi's outstanding. He's one of the GOATs. Man, I don't know about Ryan O'Reilly.
He won the Conn Smythe,
did
he not? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Maybe he's an A. I mean,
A
Conn Smythe a Conn Smythe winner has to go an A, like at least.
But he wasn't the captain when he was a Conn Smythe winner.
Yeah, but he's the captain now, and like he's still the same guy. It was only 2 years ago. Like, Conn Smythe winner should be an A.
Man, he's too busy running into Tim Hortons with his pickup truck.
Maybe he's not so clutch with his scoring, but best face-off guy in the league, and you got to be pretty clutch to win that big face-off.
Yeah, I mean, he's a key part of the St. Louis Blues, and he was a perfect replacement for Pietrangelo. I mean, I think he's more in the same level as a B category.
He won the Conn Smythe, my man.
He did win the Conn Smythe, but I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Are we basing this off captaincy, or are we like he wasn't the captain then? I don't know. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. But I mean, like, Bergeron's only been captain for like a year, and we rated him a B. You know, and he hasn't, like, by that metric, he hasn't proven anything then.
Man, you just made a really good point. But
I did.
Okay, you know what? Stick with Riley in the A category. He is a pretty good leader.
Like B, like he's good, man, in the playoffs. Like, almost point per game every year, and like he's defensively super responsible. I don't know about his leadership. I really don't know how clutch he is. Like, when it comes to scoring, I really don't like the Blues. So I don't watch a lot of them.
Yeah, I don't think the Blues are as strong this year. Yeah, I think B.
Like, it's close because he won the Conn Smythe, man, but
I think A is maybe too much. You're putting him below Crosby, McDavid, and Ovechkin, right? You gotta be careful there, I think.
Shea Weber's interesting because, like, he's so steady. He's like a rock back there, but like when it comes to point production, he's not the guy. Like, he's never going to be producing the points you need to win, right? So like, how clutch is he? He's not that clutch. I mean, I'm sure he's a fantastic leader, man. He's been a captain for so long. Like,
yeah, in different aspects of the game, right? Like, he's probably not the most skilled player, but that C definitely should be on his jersey. He's like, he was the captain of Nashville, and you can tell immediately they wanted him to be captain in Montreal. So he's a player that can carry a team, but maybe not on the point, not on the scoreboard. Maybe like in the locker room where he pumps with the guys. I mean, you see him as an example on the ice. The guy can put a puck through the net. I
think based on his experience alone, he should be a B. You know?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like, he's a guy that's been around for a while and has always been captain. So B for me too.
Jared Spurgeon is tough because, like, everybody knows Jared Spurgeon's a good defenseman. It was kind of surprising when they named him captain. I didn't think they would name one, but they went with him. And like, there's nothing wrong with him. But people used to, like, he was supposed to be a point producing defenseman. And he has been throughout his career in the regular season. He's always getting around 30 points.
But not the playoffs. Not at all.
Not the playoffs. Yeah, his point totals are way down, like 0 points, 6 points, 4 points, 5 points, 1 point, 1 point, 4 like negative. Jared.
I mean,
This might be a D.
Is this the captain that replaces Mikko Koivu, a legend in the Minnesota Wild franchise history? I mean, I was a little surprised too when he was captain, but a lot of people say he's very underrated and he's not given as much appreciation as he should be given. Maybe in the regular season he has been amazing, but playoffs does not show for it. He hardly puts up any points. He's a minus most seasons. He's in a D. He's in the D category for me too.
Yeah. Sorry, Jared. I like Jared Spurgeon,
Jared.
But
congratulations on the C this year, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see this year because Minnesota's actually good, right? So like maybe he pops off.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Kaprizov helps him out. So we got Stevie Stamkos, Stammer. I mean, Stamkos has been an amazing player. He was one of the best in the league. He's dealt with injuries quite a bit in the past few years, and especially a lot of injuries, especially in the playoffs where he misses a few games. But when he does play, he's a dangerous player on the ice, and he does lead that team, and he plays with a lot of will. And he played only one game in the Stanley Cup Finals last year, and he did record 2 points in that one game. So that just shows if he was playing that whole time, he would have been insane. And the times where he played fully was he was more than a point per game player, or maybe just about. But Steven Stamkos, I think he's a great leader for the Tampa Bay Lightning and a great leader for the Stanley Cup playoffs, even if he isn't playing.
He has -11 over the course of his playoff career, but most of that is the -8 he received when Columbus absolutely destroyed Tampa Bay in the playoffs. So like that's kind of an anomaly for me. So he's close to even. It's just the injuries, man. He's obviously a fantastic leader. He can score big goals. It's just, his stats are kind of all over the place because of his injuries.
Yeah, injuries really didn't help his career. I mean, imagine what he'd be like if he wasn't injured. He would he'd definitely be much higher on this list, but I say C or B for me. You can break the ice there.
I was gonna say A.
You're gonna say A.
I think
I would go with A too. Honestly, I'll go with A because
I think he's still an A. Like he's still one of the best players in the league. He's clutch. He's a leader. Like it's just injuries have derailed him. Like I think a healthy Steven Stamkos is one of the best players in the league still.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if he wasn't injured as much, I'd love to see him like get as much points as Crosby or McDavid or Ovi does, right? So
exactly.
I do agree with A. Stamkos, it was just hard to tell, honestly.
It is hard to tell with him because he hasn't had a big sample size in a few years. He played 17 games in 2017-18 and had 16 points. I mean, that's great. And then it's just been the Columbus series and then injuries. Yeah.
So the Columbus series, they don't want to talk about that.
Last guy here, the first captain in Vegas Golden Knight history, Mark Stone. Should have been an Ottawa Senator for his career, but Ottawa's stupid. So Mark Stone is one of the best shooters in the league, in my opinion. He shows that on Vegas with his goal scoring. I mean, his last 2 seasons with Vegas in the playoffs, 17 points in 20 games, and then 12 points in 7 games. Like, Mark Stone is clutch. He's a leader. He's been through the playoffs a bunch of times. He's got the experience. I think Mark Stone deserves to be high on this list.
Mark Stone can explode, especially in the playoffs. He is a crucial part to the Vegas Golden Knights. By far one of their best players, not if maybe their best player on the team. And no wonder they named him captain. He's just a great guy in the locker room, and he's an amazing player that puts up points. Last year he has 17 points in 20 games. I take him any day over that. He's a +7 in the playoffs, even from his years in Ottawa. They made it to the conference finals with Ottawa, and he was probably a big part of that too.
8 points, still a pretty young player.
Exactly. I would be shaking my head if I was Ottawa giving him away. And the Vegas Knights have a really good captain leading them maybe to the Stanley Cup Finals this year.
I'm going to say A. I think he's just as good as Stamkos and Yossi.
I'll say A too. That's a perfect spot for Mark Stone. He'll get up to S for sure. 1 year. I'm for
could.
sure. I can see that happening.
Yeah, I like the way our list turned out. Look at how equal that is, and then right in the middle, it averages out with one extra.
Shea Weber. Is there anything we want to change? Is there anything we'll take back, or
I'm not changing the Tavares one, man. You can't convince me.
Man, I honestly, I don't know. Would you put Barkov higher?
I think C is good for him because he hasn't proven himself yet. Like Florida has been such a wish-washy team, right? So like Barkov is so good. Like so good. It's just like skill-wise, Barkov should be an A. Like he is that good. But just he hasn't, like, we haven't seen what he's capable of yet in the playoffs. And I think this year, if they get past Tampa Bay, is going to be the year where he shows us that he belongs in the upper tiers.
Definitely. If this was a skill tiers list, he'd definitely be high on this list. But
yeah, if this was down to how good each player was, like it would look totally different. But this is about, well, maybe except for the top, maybe.
Yeah, the top's pretty accurate. But
yeah, like Jordan Staal, well, I guess in regards to these other guys, Jordan Stahl's not that skilled. But like Tavares would obviously be higher. Like Bergeron would probably be higher. Barkov, like Landeskog is a super skilled player. Those three guys in C are all very interesting players to be there because they're all amazing talents. It's just like they need to step up and prove themselves.
They do, especially as a leader of the team.
Goals. They need to score those big goals, you know?
They do. And Tavares, that's what they brought him in there for, $11 million. He should be doing that. So I like how the list turned out. I think everything's pretty accurate. We'll see if maybe next year this changes, right? Like maybe Barkov in the Florida Panthers beat the Tampa Bay Lightning and he has a totally different season in the playoffs this year. Same with a bunch of other teams, right? So you never know if the Islanders move on. The Carolina Hurricanes, they have a great team, so maybe Jordan Staal leads them to the Stanley Cup Finals and he has like an amazing season. You just never know. After 1 year, they may be able to change their rating.
Exactly. And for all we know, I mean, like Winnipeg could totally fall flat and maybe that affects where Blake Wheeler is, right? Maybe Blake Wheeler gets dropped.
Yeah,
you know? Like
for sure.
Maybe Montreal gets smoked and that drops Shea Weber down, right? Don't know.
You should
it's
never know.
It's going to be an interesting playoffs.
It is.
Go Panthers.
Go Leafs, go.
I'm just sad that this season I'm not able to put Bo Horvat into the S category.
I'm not too sad, but it's all right.
I'm pretty sad about it. All right. Well, that was fun. Thanks for listening, guys. Next episode of the podcast will be out shortly after this video in a couple days. Hope everybody enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. And let us know if you want any more tier lists, and we can definitely do some. Send us some suggestions. Leave a comment if you enjoyed it. And yeah.
Thanks, guys. And also let us know if you agree with our tier list. We know we could have some controversial picks. So no disagreeing allowed. This is a dictatorship. It doesn't matter what the people think. It's entirely up to us. Dictatorship. Oh man, Bryce.
This is a dictatorship. All right, I'm ending the episode before I say something incriminating.
See you guys.